Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Public Allies platform. I'm your host, Ayesha Sardar, for tonight's roundtable on health and goals. Mental health problems can have a wide range of causes. It's likely that for many people, there is a complicated combination of factors, such as child abuse, trauma, neglect, social isolation, having long term physical health problems, unemployment, losing jobs, homelessness, and a lot more. These lifestyle factors, such as work, diet, drugs, lack of sleep, can affect your mental health, and these can be flared up by some of the environmental factors. So today we are bringing you this roundtable on health and goals to tell you more about how these factors can affect your mental health. Our society has been conditioned to constantly focus on material wealth at all costs. However, having good health is something money simply can't buy. People with serious mental health conditions are at high risk of experiencing chronic physical conditions too. People with chronic physical conditions are at risk of developing poor mental health. So today we have this roundtable on health and goals, which is sponsored by Home Life Galaxy Real Estate. And today we have with us Karuna, the owner of the real estate agency. Karuna has been in the real estate industry since 2001 and has several years of experience being a broker. And currently he's the owner of Home Life Galaxy, and this brokerage is located in Scarborough, and it has 250 sales representatives working at this office. Karuna has himself worked in the past with several real estate brands such as Remax, C21, and Home Life. He's a very humble and at all times and loves to be a guide, mentor to these agents to achieve success in their business. So we would like to hear a couple of words from Karuna. Karuna, tell us, why do you want to sponsor these roundtables at Public Allies?
Well, thanks, Aisha, for the good introduction. Um, First of all, we've been doing this for different segments. We used to give education for kids, and now this is an opportunity that you are giving us to sponsor the roundtable here. And we are a group that we always would like to give back to our community, where we always gain businesses as well as support from the community.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that the healthy society is a combination of what you think in your mind, what you put in your stomach, and that's what the output is going to be, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, we are really happy to be a part of you. And when we are sponsoring, also we spoke in our office like we are proud that we are part of you there.
Oh, thank you so much, Karuna. And
Thank you,
we
and
will let you go, and we will take over the rest of the roundtable. Thank
sure,
you for
I
being
look
with
forward
us.
to hear from the speakers as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night,
Thank you.
Karina.
Bye,
Thank you.
Karuna. Yeah, take
Bye
care.
bye.
Thank
Okay,
you.
coming
Thank
back
you.
to our roundtable, today we have with us three wonderful ladies, and let me do a small introduction of them. Although I can't be reading the whole thing, they have done a lot of work, and you will know them better because we'll be calling them back on webinars on our platform. So, starting in alphabetical order, Charisse Bacchus. Charisse Bacchus comes from the beautiful twin island of Trinidad and Tobago. She has been involved in sport and community work for most of her life. She has represented her country both nationally and professionally in regional and international competitions in track and field for over 18 years. As an athlete, she earned many awards in regional and international competitions for Trinidad and Tobago as a jumper, pentathlete, and sprinter. Charisse graduated from the FIFA Master of Sport Management, Law and Humanities, conducted in UK, Italy, and Switzerland, and it is the leading sports law management program in the world. This experience excited and motivated her to pursue the employment of this noble activity as a means of improving the social enlightenment of many of the young citizens of the world. She has had the opportunity to experience the sports from both sides of the spectrum. for her athletics career as well as her work as FIFA and work at FIFA, and using sports and entertainment to develop communities. So it is only natural that she has made the transition to sports and financial management. Charisse is a World Financial Group agent, and she believes in educating and empowering athletes to reach their managerial and financial goals. Welcome, Charisse.
Thank you so much.
Next,
Thank
we
you.
have Dr. Dina Al-Kayssi, and she was born in Iraq to a family of doctors. She came to Canada when she was 12 years old and was fascinated by natural medicine. She was influenced by her family to take up medicine. She stumbled upon naturopathic medicine when she faced personal struggles with her gut health. After completing medical school, and then it changed her life and health significantly. Naturopathic medicine became her story and her personal journey. She loves helping people and believes in two things: affordable and accessible healthcare, and that everyone has the right to an education. This is why she loves to teach and impart her knowledge and experience to others. She teaches in a college as a professor, and also uses her social media to reach the masses. She's very patient and she's a wonderful person. Her goal is to have accessible and affordable naturopathic medicine in Ontario for everyone.
Thank you for that great introduction.
Yes. Last but not least, we have Stephan Stewart. She is a literacy program director, event coordinator, professor, board member, and consultant. During her teens, she directed summer youth activities. While at university, she founded the Achievers, a student-based nonprofit organization that provided summer employment opportunities for youth. She has completed a master's degree in education, taught middle, high school, and college, ran for office, successfully directed and delivered training, growth and leadership development programs in the corporate arena. Then she started her own company, Queries. Welcome, Stephan.
Thank you.
Oh my God, it's been wonderful, but obviously I must have missed something about all of you. So anybody wants to add anything, go ahead, ladies. Anything to add?
No, you got it
I think
all.
you covered it.
Okay.
Really good.
You made us sound amazing.
Yeah.
You are amazing.
You introduce us all the time.
Yeah.
Every time we walk into the room, we need you, Ayesha, please.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm privileged to have such wonderful people on the platform, and we look forward to it every time. So let's start. So tell me, what is sustainable health mean to you, and how would you define good health? Let's start again alphabetically. Charisse, go ahead.
Absolutely. Sustainable health means a lot of times balanced health to me. And when I say balance, I mean where you're taking care of your body, so your physical health, you're taking care of your mind, your mental health, and then some sort of spirituality. And when I say, let me clarify, when I say spirituality, it can go from your faith, you know, I love the Lord, so that's my, mental oasis. But it can be something as simple as meditating or going on a hike and enjoying nature, like whatever feeds your soul.
Yeah.
As long as you have those three pillars and that balance, that is sustainable health to me.
Wonderful. Dina, what does it mean to you?
I have to agree here. It's actually, it's the maintaining a balance. And for the longest time, we used to define health as the absence of disease. Even, till recently, even WHO had changed that. And they started calling it, no, it's actually the physical and the social and the entire well-being of the person. And it's the mental health as well included. But in reality, I think what we have to come to realize is that we need to find a balance for each person. So we are feeding our lifestyle and we're feeding our genetics. So it's not just a generic definition that goes for everybody, but it's actually customizable definition for everyone. So each person is very, very different based on what they're eating, how is their lifestyle, what their genetics is, and what are their epigenetics is. And I talk about this on my platforms as well. And I think over time, that health, we can't just define it by generic terms. It becomes a very customized for each person. And sometimes people say I'm healthy, but is the biochemistry, the physiology, the lifestyle, are they all coming together to matching what you're putting outward as well as internally what you are experiencing? So all those things have to be in a very well balanced.
Wow. Yeah, that's nice. Stephan?
Well said, ladies. Well, being a learning and development professional, I'm going to come from the mindset point of view. And I'm going to say that looking at health, it is the ability to manage one's physical and emotional well-being. And for the purpose of discussion, I'm going to define emotional as our natural state of mind. And the mind, we always say the mind, and oftentimes people don't know that we have three major areas in our minds. And that is the subconscious mind. That is the part of our mind that allows us to create thoughts. So every time you think a thought, you're creating. And there's a conscious mind. It allows us to interact with our world through our senses, our five senses. And everybody does that: touch, sight, hearing, and did I miss one? And then there is the superconscious mind, the area of the mind that they say that it defines you and your purpose in life, the gifts you bring to the world. What is your purpose and what you do that is so unique to you? And that is your superconscious mind. And then I think sustaining a good health is using all three of your mind, the areas of your mind, to prepare, recover from, adapt to stresses, adversity, trauma, and challenges.
Absolutely. Wonderfully said. Wow. See, we have three different perspectives here. That is the whole reason why we bring all of you in a round table. So what I get from all of you is it is the personal commitment to maintaining and taking responsibility of your own health, whether we do it in what we eat, how we do our exercises, or how we prepare our mind for particular situations or our daily lives. So that is what is called sustainable health. And how do we create it? How do we create good health? By good practices in all these things that you've said. So wonderfully said, all three of you. And going from here to our next question. How do you still sustain a good health during a pandemic like this? We have been through the first wave. We have been through the second wave. I have lost count, ladies. I don't know if it is the third, fourth, fifth. What? So please tell us what are some of the ways that people can stay motivated during these times? Dina, you want to start?
Sure. This pandemic, I see a lot of patients all the time, and I see anxiety, I see depression, and I feel like there's no way going around it. There's a lot of obviously negative things that are happening with this pandemic, but I try to focus on the positive. For the longest time, we've all had said this sentence: "I wish I had time, ... And now we have that time. Maybe, you're sitting at home and your situation has changed, you're recouped up, you still have to do work from home. But there is this time that you can go and enjoy a walk separately, obviously from, maintaining social distance, respecting social distance. But getting that sun, getting that vitamin D does help. It actually lifts your mood. Getting education online. There's so many actually great courses that have been, been coming up that you can learn so much about. You can enjoy social gatherings via Zoom or any of these platforms. So, there's not tangibility in the social aspect, but you still actually talking to other people and meeting other people. And the one thing also I notice is that people say this to me, oh, the gyms are closed. And I say, so? Realistically, if you want to exercise, there's yoga, there's meditation. You can do any sort of exercise at home. I personally exercise from home before the pandemic started. I have my own equipment. I don't need tons of equipment. I live in downtown Toronto. I have resistant bands. I can go for a walk, get my cardio. I can do a lot of training at home. And I also follow, people on social media who do a lot of training at home. So getting that is great. Also, getting a book, starting some reading, doing these projects at home, getting your mind occupied by things that you always had put off. This is the time to do it. So there is, we always look at the glass, half full or versus half empty. There's always negative to situation, but there's always a great positive. And that time I've been utilizing myself and to take in courses that I've always wanted to take, So I think there's always things that we can do from home. Granted, it's not the best situation, but I think there is, if you start with, considering there's a lot of anxiety and depression that is happening, start with grounding yourself, reminding yourself what are the things that you appreciate about yourself, your family, your loved ones, things that you appreciate this year, whether a birthday you celebrated or another year you celebrated or something that happened for you that is positive, and reminding yourself that the most important thing this year is actually health, which is the biggest wealth we can ever have. So that's my output on it.
Yeah, thank you, Dina, for it. Stephan, you want to add?
I agree with you, Dr. Dina. In addition to that, I'm going to say, yes, during these times of limited access to mobility and activities, I agree with her in saying that this is a great opportunity to focus on ourselves. This is a chance to look at our life path and make plans to support the achievements of our goals. During the first step is to schedule a quiet time. And, for those of us who are in households, it may feel cramped, but it is be creative and find some quiet time. I remember as a teenager, I'm from a family of 10, and I used to sneak away in the clothes closet with a flashlight to get me time and to read. So I'm saying that if you want something bad enough, you will find a way to make the time. Now, during your quiet time, I want you to ask yourself this question: how have I been reacting to the situations that I faced in COVID? And these are the options. Have I been in the fear zone? Have I been in the learning zone? Or have I been in the growth zone? The fear zone is we tend to spread anger and fear. We consume social media compulsively, as well as eat compulsively. And then we might also forget, we're always complaining about things. In the learning zone, we have identified our emotions and the triggers that set them off, and we use positivity to manage what we can control to build and strengthen our mind. And then in the growth zone, we have decided to recognize the positive things in our lives. We look at ways to adapt to changes in our lives, and we practice quietude, patience, and relationship building. Now, to help guide you to these areas, I've post a lot of things here. And our mind is limited in what it can absorb at one time. So I would suggest that you get a book that you can work through and actually monitor your progress. I have recently written a workbook. It's called Foster Positive Thought, and it allows you to write your thoughts, read about the mind and how it works, and it is readily available at your fingertips because it's online. So anywhere you are, anytime, you can access it on your cell phone, record your feelings, and then look at them from time to time to see if you're growing and how fast you're growing.
Yeah, thanks, Stephan. And it really becomes important to learn those positive, inputs, positive things that can bring in that positivity during this pandemic, although it is very difficult when you're going through the same cycle again and again. So, Charisse, your take on it. How do you keep yourself motivated?
Absolutely. Great answers, ladies. I would say, importantly, schedule your day, schedule your time.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you're just wandering through the days. For those of you who are fortunate enough to, continue working during this time, I know that's not as much as a problem, but for those of you who, are struggling a little bit, schedule your day. You will find, as Dr. Dina was saying, you'll find pockets of time to now attack things that you've always wanted to do. I'll give you my personal experience. At the beginning of COVID and when everything shut down, guess what shut down first? All the training facilities. So everybody in that industry now had to pivot. A lot of them pivoted beautifully and are now doing their classes online. I decided I want to take a different angle, and that's when I decided to add my financial aspect to my repertoire, I guess. And within that year, I was able to complete my financial license. So, as Stephan was saying, either you're going to look at something as, a negative, or you're going to use the opportunity to create something positive and beautiful. So take the time, schedule your day, set your goals, and something positive will always come from that if you remain consistent. And also a small tidbit with the workouts, being at home is not an excuse. I'm going to take the tough aspect. It's not an excuse. There's so many workouts, HIIT workouts. For those of you who don't know, it's high intensity interval training. So many workouts that you can do online. Pop on YouTube. These workouts take 30 minutes. It'll get your heart rate up and running, and you'll be able to at least have that aspect of your day complete. So it's absolutely doable at home during these times.
Yeah, absolutely. We thought we can only work out in gyms for a long time, and now we have realized we can do it at home. So equally professional workouts done at home. So wonderfully said, all three of you. We got one saying, use this time to do things which you plan to do but never got the time for. Use this opportunity to turn the negative into positive, and then schedule everything so you know what you're doing instead of you wasting your time or thinking about it. Wonderful. So that was our next question, like how to do it, but you already answered it, ladies. So let's go into our next question. This is specifically for you, Dina. Why did you choose to be a naturopathic doctor instead of a medical doctor? So, and what are some of the misconceptions associated with it?
It's a great question. So, as you know, when you introduced me, I do have a bachelor degree in life sciences, and then I went to med school. So I got my Doctor of Medicine degree, and then I went back to school to get a Doctor of Naturopathic. The reason I did it actually was the way it kind of fell into my lap. However, it was the universe working with me. It was a personal journey. So I was actually struggling with IBS for the longest time. And at the time, my, colleagues and friends kept saying to me, it's just stress. It's just stress. Even at the time I wasn't stressed, I was struggling with it. So there was a real explanation. So, stumbled upon natural medicine. I've always wanted focus in sport medicine. That was, something I was passionate about. And then so when I stumbled upon naturopathic medicine and I figured out they had actually a sport medicine shift, it was just, a dream come true because I get to do a lot more. Pain management has been always something I always focused on. My father always focused on it from a medical, conventional medicine. And so I've always wanted to look in that. So when I entered the program, I healed myself because, I went to, a naturopathic doctor myself. I figured I had a lot of food sensitivities that I just didn't know about. And everything, it's almost like a curtain that, got lifted from my eyes. And it was just so many things and tools. And now that, not to say that there's no room for conventional medicine. I work with doctors all the time. We have a collaborative care. I think the healthcare system work amazingly together. We have the chiros, we have the physios, we have the MDs, we have MD specialties, we have the NDs. And there's room for everybody. But naturopathic medicine for me was looking at why something happened, the root cause of something. And for me, the IBS, the answer was stress wasn't enough. I needed to find out what actually was happening behind the biochemistry, what is happening in my body. So it gave me those answers. And then I ventured off and, started looking into more pain management for looking into focuses and my interest. And I became, when I graduated, now I look at more into pain management, arthritis, athletic performance, but I also see an array of stuff, hormones, fertility, all those things, but it's all from a natural perspective where, I look at why something happened. And, that why perspective really was so important for me because I'm such a biochemistry kind of girl. So I needed to know the microscopic level of things that are changing for me to explain it to myself and explain it to others.
Okay, that's wonderful. Charisse, going from a naturopath to, a personal trainer. Mm-hmm. So you have been an athlete, a personal trainer, and you also train athletes now. So what are some of the characteristics or traits that you would say that these successful people have in common?
Absolutely. I would say what they have in common was first level of natural athleticism. They're able to pivot, jump, sprint well. You usually can tell. I always say kids are fascinating. You can usually tell which kids are athletic just watching them play in the schoolyard. You see kids pivot, turn, sprint, and you see which ones that are going to have a career in sports if they wanted to. But to that point, you have a lot of athletes that are super athletic, but I would say the ones that really separate and are super successful are extremely disciplined, are extremely focused, goal-oriented, and they're able to play into their strengths. So if they know that they are explosive and strong, they can play into that really well. If they know that they are, super fast, they can play into that really well. If they know that they are, very strategic when it comes to certain sports like, golf and archery, where you have to be a little bit more strategic, they play into those strengths. Those are the kids that really go above and beyond. And work ethic, that's huge. You can have less talent than another athlete, but if you outwork them, you're going to succeed. You're going to probably do better than them.
Yeah, very good points. Like you said, you need to be disciplined, right? It's not like they don't have health issues or health problems. Like, you can have a lot of fractures. You could get hurt during practice or even when you're performing. But then how do you come back from it? How do you stay healthy? Is it like the same thing or you do something extra?
Well, you absolutely have to do something extra. Recovering from an injury is a whole nother pattern almost. You have to have a recovery plan, just how you have a training plan. You have to have a full plan for your recovery. So you go to your sport doctor, they diagnose you, and they tell you what's wrong, and then they give you advice on which steps you now have to take. You take that information, you now have to give that to your physiotherapist, who now maps out a plan for your recovery. From your physiotherapist, you now go to your strength and conditioning coach. To me, it's what I do. And they now have to map out a plan working with your doctors and your physiotherapist to build you back to where you were before, and hopefully stronger than where you were before. And just how you follow your training plan, you have to follow your recovery plan with like militant energy. You can't have, it's almost like building a business. You can't have certain pockets in your foundation, things are going to crumble. It's the exact same thing with your recovery plan. And I think this, Dr. Dina, you can hop in also if you want. I think this goes beyond athleticism and sports. This goes beyond, physical stuff. I think with any recovery plan, you have to follow with militant energy.
Yeah,
I agree.
Agree completely. And that's where I bring in Stephan now, where we want to hear, how do you develop that programming? How do you develop that resilience within you to, work and help yourself? Go ahead, Stephan.
It all starts with a belief, that thought that says that I can. And if you don't have that belief, you will not achieve it. What you think is what you get. And so you start to strengthen your mind. And when your mind is strengthened, it releases certain chemicals in your body. And those chemicals, for instance, negative chemicals released in the body kill off cells that for happiness, and it damages your immune system. Positive thoughts release a totally different chemical that allows you to feel happy. And when you are feeling happy, that's a positive emotion. And positive emotion builds your immune system and it builds your body. So it all starts with your mind. And those portions of your mind you have control of. You can create. We were meant to create thoughts, and those thoughts are the ones that tell the cells how to behave. So let us look at the mind. Yes, accidents happen, trauma happens, but if we consciously think about it and decide on which thoughts to dwell on, every time we think a thought, we do one of two things. We create a new neural pathway, or we strengthen an old one. So if you want to have a predominant thought that controls your body, then you start to think on those things. And the things, if you want positivity, then you start to think on positive things. And then you go to the doctors and they help you what methods you use. And you use, there's psychological medicine as well, right? Yeah. So there we have it.
So what you're saying is we just don't need a recovery plan for our physical health, but we do need a recovery plan for our mental health too.
Yes.
Changing our mindset.
Right. The physical health, actually, all health starts with the mind first.
I would say it goes both ways, but I'm not contradicting what you're saying. I'm just saying it goes both ways. If you have good physical health, you have good mental health. When you have good mental health, you have good physical health. That's what I always propose. So anybody wants to add anything? Go ahead, ladies.
And that's interesting you said that, Stephan. To your point, they drill into our heads when we're competing in sport that it is 80% mental, 20% physical. So that's absolutely true. It really starts in your mind.
Yeah.
Everything we do in our lives, the chair we're sitting on, this technology that we're using,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and then they put action into the thoughts, and it materialized into something that we are using today, and that is how it is with our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so when we are talking about mental health and we are talking about medicine, we have our doctor here. Stephan, you could go first. So, what does preventative medicine mean to you?
Well, preventive medicine means to me that you use all three areas of our minds. Um, we find ways of seeing the disadvantages as well as the advantages in every situation. We understand who we are and the gifts we have. If we are, and these, and then we use our thoughts to respond to the challenges that we face rather than reacting. You see, we have been programmed in our world by various things, but we can unprogram that. It's not an easy task, but it can be done. And so when we start to see that life always has advantages as well as disadvantages, and that each one of us, every single one of us, has power to create our world. And then when we do that, we start to respond. We start to plan how we react to our world rather than reacting in anger and fear. It sounds great, but it's not easy. That's, to me, is preventative. Using your mind deliberately.
That is wonderful. Charisse, your take?
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, Stefan, you used the word reacting a lot, which I think is very important. We don't want to be reactive where we're reacting to a problem that we now have. We want to be on the other side where we're preventing it. So many issues can come up, whether it's hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes, all of these issues where if we are on the other side and we can have some sort of physical regimen and whether it's as simple as making sure you go to the doctor once a year, twice a year, and making sure that you catch the beginning of these issues early, you can now put preventative measures in place, as opposed to you now have this issue and you're now reacting and playing catch up. You always want to be on the other side of the spectrum.
Well said, Charisse. Dina?
This preventative medicine is my bread and butter, because like naturopathic medicine is a lot of people come in to work on their health. Preventive medicine for me is working on the now, working on the future, and actually respecting your past and respecting your genetics as well and family history. So it's looking at everything. Reality is preventative medicine is that not a person coming to my office and saying, I have this pain now, is I have, arthritis runs in my family. What can I do for my now to not make sure that I don't develop such thing in the near future? So working on who you are as a person right now versus, down the line, what it is that you might or may not develop it depending on your lifestyle and genetics, but also respecting your past, what you have done in your past. So as, for example, people who smoked for 50 years are not the same person who's non-smoker for the rest of their life, or the time they come and see me. So respecting what your past was versus what you are going through now. So I think people need to realize that doctors are not just there for you to have a symptom and then get in touch when you have those symptoms. It's actually, we're here to prevent something from happening, to establish a lifestyle I don't like to, use that, fads for saying diets or things like that, because I actually want people to maintain it, to live that. We all love to enjoy certain things, whether it's cakes and ice cream or whatever, but to have that balance, to have that, in a way to keep it within arm's length, we can still enjoy these things and maintain it in a level that is what is healthy for us. And so for me, preventative medicine is what I do every day. So I want to make sure people don't develop the high cholesterol, as my colleague was saying here, and diabetes or high blood pressure. I want to make sure people maintain their now as much as humanly possible without manifestation of a symptom or a disease. And aging is inevitable. We are all going to age, but there is aging gracefully.
Yes. And if anybody is looking to age gracefully, you know where to go. Go to all these three ladies. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, go ahead, Stephan.
The question is there anybody out there who does not want to age gracefully?
That's true. That's true. But what you all said reminds me of a quote. It says, prevention is better than cure, right?
Right.
So preventative medicine, like all of you said, is thinking about the future and being prepared now, instead of starting to prepare when we are already there in the midst of that illness. So I have come across many of my clients who have a family history, or when they have gotten their blood test done, they have found that they could be on the other side of the cholesterol or the diabetes, and they start preparing now. I applaud all you people there who are listening. Go ahead, get in shape mentally, physically, for your own health, not for anybody else, but for your own health and for your confidence. It builds a lot of confidence within you, having a positive mind and having a healthy body. So that's like what we are here to talk about. That healthy body, healthy mind, having those goals set is what you should be doing, instead of thinking about this pandemic or COVID or whatever. Okay, so children's welfare is always important to us at Public Allies, and we have always said prevention, like you all were talking, having that preventative programming for kids, especially in mental health, is very important. We have been trying to get the school boards include a program for mental health like they have for physical health, once every week at least. Like they have gyms, we are asking them to have some workshop or some programming which becomes as a part of the curriculum in the school boards, because we are trying to talk to them about preventative programming. Stephan, maybe I should send this to them. Hopefully they will listen to you if they don't listen to us. So seeing that child mental health is increasing and child obesity is on the rise, what do you think needs to be done to decrease this from your respective professions? Charisse, you want to go first?
Sure. I believe that, what you're saying, Ayesha, is very important, where they have these physical programs, great, but they also need a mental aspect. What a lot that I saw during my career was kind of having both of them combined, where they actually had people who were counselors or sports psychologists, or someone who worked in that area. They would actually come while the children were doing the physical activity. So they would blend both programs, and I thought that created really great results. The children reacted very, very well to having them both combined.
That's wonderful. So that is what you propose even now, combining those two. Yeah, that is one of the solutions. Stephan, you want to go next?
Yes. As a teacher in middle school, especially middle school because of the younger age, I noticed that kids are very malleable. They absorb and they see what you do. And you could have programs, and we need programs. And kids will learn at school, but I'm going to direct and pivot to the home. I'd say to parents, how we address, one of the ways of addressing mental health and obesity in our young people is for the parents to start looking at their own lifestyles. Why? Because you are the greatest, biggest model to your child. What your lifestyle, how you live your lifestyle, is how they will copy most of the time. And so, I'm also fall into that trap of telling people and not doing. When I sit and I start to look at some of my behaviors, I realize that, wow, Stephan, if you took all your counsel, you would be oh so farther ahead. It's easy to tell and so much harder to do. And so parents, that's the first stop I would tell you to do. And then with the programs that are in place in school, I would add to that, schedule some me time between you and your children to talk about mental health. Ask them what they're thinking. Talk about fear. Where is it coming from? Why are you afraid? Okay? And encourage them to speak out about what is happening in their life.
Yeah.
Spending time is very important. I had a delightful pleasure the other day. I got an email from a 9-year-old, and he thanked me for a video that I had sent to him. It's called Foster Positive Thought. And he said he and his mother watch it before they do their lessons. And it tells us our thoughts it sets the foundation for how we learn, what we do, and how we interact to the world. So I'm saying, parents, look at your lifestyle, talk to your children. What we think is important, we give our times to. Our time is limited. So if you give your time to your children now, it's the biggest investment you can give them, and it will strengthen them and make them more successful.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Thanks, Stephan. Dina?
Well, from the medicine point of view, I come in and I'm very passionate about this because I'm not a parent myself. So I'm very careful speaking to parents because they feel like, how could you say those things to me when you're not a parent? So I'm very careful in choosing my words toward that. But I notice I speak from a health perspective when I see a kid. The rate of obesity in our generation, in the young generation, it is unbelievably high. And that leads to various conditions, not only obesity, and, we're looking at more things, ADHD. We're starting to over-medicate over ADHD because we're just simply pumping kids with sugar. Everything we are giving them has tons and tons and tons of sugar. So, I'm very careful with that. And I bring it in and I say, live by example. But also, sometimes you're not your child's friend. You are the parent. You have to say, no, these are not healthy for you. There is a reason kids can't vote. There's a reason they can't make, massive decision because their brain is still developing. They need our guidance. They need our choices. So the fact that a lot of parents are like, they give in, and I've heard that word over and over again. I give in and I just give them candy. I give in and I give the iPad. Well, they need structure. Not a rigid structure, but some sort of structure where they can feel like, they're within boundaries. They're, safe in those boundaries. They can have those treats, but within reason. They can have their food on the plate within certain reason. They can't reach out for the bag of chips whenever they want to. And starting with home, and then we're looking at schools. Unfortunately, with our, health, system, the education system, we're turning the other cheek. It's not there now. We don't need to worry about it. But let me tell you the massive strain that puts on our healthcare system now and in the future, because all these kids are going to develop massive chronic diseases, and it will be shedding money like no other, because preventative medicine will always be cheaper than chronic diseases later. The amount of insulin, the amount of metformin that we have to shed in, the amount of other things, ADHD medication, it's unbelievable what we're doing. And it all starts from the food that we're feeding the kids. The gut is our fuel system. What we eat is our energy. So imagine you're eating bad food that is full of additives and sugar every day. What do you think is going to happen to your body and your mind? Simply is not going to be functioning well. So I'm very passionate about this topic with kids and how they're developing, because I think we're probably at this generation, we're probably as the best we can be unless we wake up and start actually making better choices for the kids in the future. Because at the rate is going, most teenagers right now, teenagers 1 in 3, about 17 to 18% are actually overweight or obese because they're playing video games and eating junk food. That's their lifestyle. So,
yeah, very well said. Believe me, watching all the guests who come on the webinars, I have changed so many things in my life, because it educates you. Whenever we are sitting and listening to you guys here, it's a learning process for us, and it's been wonderful. And I agree with Stephan when she says learning starts at home. Kids are going to see and watch and do what you are doing. So what you are doing has to be the right thing. What you are eating, what you are saying, how you're behaving, what your mental state is, affects even the kids, right? You're anxious, they look at you, they start feeling anxious too. So learn to cope with your anxiousness, learn to eat healthy, and even start healthy foods at home, start healthy thinking at home, and workouts, like Charisse says. It's very important. Your physical health is important too. So ladies, it's been wonderful. Please, you have anything else to add, anything else to say, go ahead. Who wants to say closing remarks? Yeah.
I will go just a tidbit extra to the previous point. I too am very careful about what I say to parents because I don't have any children yet. But this is a time now to put your kids in everything, you know, physical wise, sport wise. You know, it teaches them discipline. It teaches them, you know, social abilities. They're able to talk to other kids now, you know, and it helps them focus. And that would now translate to their mind and their schoolwork and everything else that they do. So put them, if your school has a after school exercise program, put them in it. They have basketball program, put them in it, put them in everything right now. And you never know, they may end up being amazing at something. And that will help them develop, you know, on another level.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think some parents as well, they, I really understanding of their situation in terms of finances. There are tons of, you know, resources. I used to actually work with some of the nonprofit organization with Sport for Kids. So there's tons of those you can actually get in touch with in the Ontario, even in Canada. We have those programs. They're just not as advertised, unfortunately. So there's tons of these sporting programs that are non-profitable. There's tons of people that donate to these programs, just they want kids to be healthier. So if you're struggling with finances, reach out to these organizations. Put your kids through soccer, basketball, hockey. We used to have even cooking classes and things like that. They teach them so much, and they teach them not only physical activities, but trades of life that they need to learn later on, better than sitting at home in front of a screen for 6 hours every day.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And you know, Charisse and Dr. Dina said it well. What you do will develop those pathways in your mind. And if you allow your child to develop strong, resilient pathways, they will be a force to be reckoned with. When you see great achievements around you, it didn't come overnight. It became because these people pushed through failures, and they should teach your children to see failures as stepping stone to success. You cannot be successful if you haven't failed. You know, I was just thinking something about today about myself, and it shocked me that I wasn't as resilient as I thought I was, because something I was facing shocked me. And I had to literally consciously say to myself, I will push through and I will fix this. And I had to tell my mind that, rather than shrinking and running away. You know, if hard things don't come to us, we will never grow. We will never know if we have it, what is in us to do it. And the thing is, we do, but we have to tell ourselves that we do. That's all I have to say.
So true. Absolutely. And I always believe failures are not failures. Those are learnings that you get on the way to your success.
Yes.
Each thing, each step helps you. And another thing I want to tell people is don't worry about what others think. In life, somebody is going to dislike you. Somebody is not going to agree with you. But it's all right.
Yes.
You have to agree with yourself. You have to learn to develop a habit of being positive and not being your own critic. There are a lot of people out there to critique you, but let it not be us, right? With that note, ladies, thank you so much again, Dr. Dina, Stephan, Charisse. It's always a pleasure to meet you all and having you on our platform. We are so privileged and so lucky that we are associated with people like you. So the takeaway from today is having a positive thinking and going to the root cause, like Dr. Dina said, on what is happening, and having a good schedule. So thank you so much again, and have a wonderful time, all of you. We will see you again next Tuesday, where we are doing a business promotion for a lovely lady called Doreen Fernandez and her business called Memory Blue. We will talk soon. Take care and good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you so much.